Good morning, everybody. Coming at you today from Kansas City and Denver. In fact, I've got my Kansas City sweatshirt on. I'm looking out my window right now, and everybody's coming down for the parade. So fortunately, our office is right in the thick of it, and I could still keep this time.
So we won't utilize this LinkedIn Live to say, man, I wish the Eagles won. Not a good
We're not
one.
going to say
That's
that.
not a good
No,
conversation.
because I'm a KC Chiefs fan, and
I know.
yeah.
Oh
No.
my God, just giving you shit. Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's so good to talk to you. I'm April Beach, CEO of the Sweet Life Company and host of the Sweet Life Entrepreneur Podcast. And let's dive into a great conversation about ad strategy
this is going to
today.
be fun. So I just started out telling you what's going on out my window. So my name is Elizabeth McFadden, and I'm the CEO and Director of Brand Strategy here at Novella Brand House. And if you missed the first couple of minutes, Novella Brand House is based in Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Chiefs, home of the 2023 Super Bowl winners. And we're all getting ready to go to a parade right outside our door here. But today we're talking about not only the best and worst of the Super Bowl ads, but we always talk about scaling with strategy. So we want to bring it back to, if you're a company that is scaling, what can you learn from some of those big brands, big companies that paid a lot of money for those Super Bowl spots? And interestingly, I was doing a little bit of research about this. So Super Bowl ads have been a thing since 1967. And even then, people were paying a lot of money. I mean, obviously not what they're paying today, but people recognized that was a national platform. Isn't that interesting?
Really? I had no idea.
And the other interesting thing I learned was that like the first blockbuster kind of really talked about ad did not come around until 1984. And can you guess what that might have been?
I want to. Was it like Coke or Pepsi?
No, it was Apple. So remember, the ad that everybody talks about, this really iconic ad called 1984. And I was reading that, I guess, after that commercial aired, even the commentators were like, what was that?
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? And so
I don't remember it, but
I was in fourth grade. So I
know, I'm like,
I don't remember it.
I was, like 8.
Yeah. But I think, but what you can take away from just even that, we'll just even start there, is, don't be afraid to be different. I mean, you still want to be on brand for yourself. Okay. You don't want to do something so wacky that people are like, what?
Right.
You don't want it to seem weird for you, but it's okay to do something different, because different does get you noticed. And there's a book, Mike Mikowitz, I think he wrote Profit. What is that? Profit First.
Profit First.
He has a whole bunch of books, actually. And I just read another one that he wrote called Get Different. And that's what he talks about in that. And he talks about, hey, you don't always have to spend a lot of money. But just think about how can you market differently? So okay. So some of our favorites, and we actually have a blog post going up later. I'll put the link to the blog post where we talk about the best and worst. We do it every year here at Novella. We talk about them, kind of give our thoughts on it. It's pretty fun. So I'll post that blog post later. But some of our favorites were one of mine was out of the gate, the Dunkin commercial with J-Lo and Ben Affleck. That was so good. It was funny. They were poking fun at themselves. And her comedic timing in the last part where she pulls up and she was like, what are you doing here? Is this where you've been going every day? I mean, it's hilarious. Really funny. Just really endearing. A really smart way to use celebrities. And I think that's something else. A lot of, probably most brands that are here listening, can't afford celebrities like that. Right. But maybe you utilize like your hometown celebrities, right? And which is fine, but you just need to make sure it works for you. Don't just stick a celebrity in there because they're popular in your hometown, right?
Right.
So again,
Right.
kind of another, just make sure it's on brand for you. So another one getting a lot of post game buzz was Tubi, which is Fox's new streaming system, app, whatever you want to call it. And the one that got a lot of buzz was the prank one. You probably remember this one, April, because it was like the commentators of the Super Bowl, like it showed them, and all of a sudden it looked like maybe somebody was changing the channel, like somebody was sitting on the remote at the party, and people like, wait, what? Am I missing something? But really, the very first spot they did, I want to say they had 2 or 3 spots during the Super Bowl. And but the first one that I thought was really good was the one where it was the rabbits coming and taking, like, dragging the people away. And I was just so like, I was so intrigued. And then they paid it off at the end with, like, they showed this whole, like, going down a rabbit hole. And again, I thought it was just so smart, right? Because super creative. And it plays on something that people talk about when you're watching a streaming service or even on social media, right? Going down a rabbit hole. I mean, it was really smart. And I did a little bit of research about that one as well. And so this was their CMO, who's been in the role there for, like, I think since August. This was kind of her idea, and they didn't promote it ahead of time. They really just let the Super Bowl be its, like, debut, which I thought was really good. But they were talking about emphasizing Tubi's more niche content, and how, like, the idea of Tubi's personality and the mindset you have to be in on their platform versus others. Like, it's a very content-rich platform, apparently. And so what I thought was really smart about this, and what, again, scaling companies can take away, is they really honed in on their value proposition.
Right.
For their who they feel like is their ideal customers. And again, they focused on what like their niche is, what they're, for about them, because there's a ton of streaming. Just like probably if you're a scaling company in your industry or in your marketplace, you probably have a lot of competition. And so, April, you talk about this all the time. It's so important to niche down as much as you can. You don't have to get super super micro, but it's important to sort of, like, claim a stake. And so that's what they did. And then the other thing is they didn't pay it off with, okay, buy now, or what our special deal is. Like, they weren't trying to get the sale. They're simply building awareness.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get people to talk about it. And I think that's another really important thing about what scaling companies need to keep in mind with their marketing. Don't always trying to be closing the sale.
Right.
Or getting that lead.
Right.
People need to, what do we say? They need to know you. They need to like you.
And a lot of people don't know. Right. Yeah. I mean, the like comes with that too, but a lot of people don't know. And I think you're exactly right. And I love that you just said that, because I think that, there doesn't always have to be a call to action. Brand awareness is, like you said, some of the most important marketing dollars so we can actually put out there initially. It's just the awareness of who we are and what we do. So absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that I bet you anything that achieved those, having those spots on there achieved their goal, which was debut this brand, build awareness, and get people talking about it. I bet you that was all that they were trying to do, and they certainly achieved that. Another one we really liked was the Google's Fixed on Pixel commercial. So that's the one where it opens up, and they use the theme music from the 2009 Up movie. And it starts out, and it, like, totally draws you in. It's like these pictures of, like, people having fun and like these moments in people's life. And then it, like, stops, like the music is like, and it moves to this really fast music, and it's talking about their, how, like, this magic button, how it can, like, take people out of photos, and brilliant. They also did a really good job last year too of, like, honing in on their audience, like really understanding who their target audience is and speaking to them. They're the ones last year that did the Pixel, I think it was like the Pixel 6. And it was like, if you're a person of a darker skin tone, this is the camera phone for you.
I remember that. Remember
that? So again, it was really clever and funny, but they did a really good job of just focusing on the audience's pain points. And that's another thing we talk about a lot on here when it comes to branding and marketing. Really understanding the pain points of your audience and speaking to those in your branding and marketing. I mean, nobody wants to hear how great you are. Your audience wants to know what you're going to do for them. Right. So anyway, just thought they did a great job. DoorDash, we get groceries. So let's talk about some taglines. That one was great. We get groceries.
Right.
And again, their whole goal of that commercial was they launched that service offering in 2020. But this was the first time they really put like a campaign behind it. They didn't get too creative with it. They were just clear. So that's another takeaway for scaling companies. Always, don't get too cute. I mean, you can be creative, you can have fun. I mean, we love that. I mean, here at Novella, we're all about being creatively strategic and smart, but you can take that too far. If your audience doesn't understand what you're trying to say, you're wasting the opportunity. So I loved that. It was like, we get groceries. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know they delivered groceries, and they've been doing it for 2.5 years. So that was great. Another one that I thought did that really well, and now I can't find it on my little list here, was, the Farmer's Dog Forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an interesting one because that's not a big brand. I mean, they really rolled the dice.
Right.
Who spent all their marketing dollars on that ad, which that's probably not something I would necessarily say do. I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong. But
no, right, though. I was actually thinking that. I'm like, wow, this cost them a lot of money.
I know. And that's, again, they're not a huge brand. But again, the Today Show is talking about them. Like all these people were talking about them. If you go online and try to search for that ad, I actually couldn't find that ad just like as them posting it, which, okay, hello, Farmer's Dog. You need to post it on your YouTube.
Your ad. Yeah, put it on your YouTube channel. Put it on
your website, something.
Yeah, embed it from YouTube. Right.
Right. Do something. But everybody else was talking about it. So again, do you sink all your marketing budget into one thing? Most likely no. But sometimes if you're doing it really strategically and those are going to meet your goals, then maybe it makes sense. And I think the takeaway there is scaling companies, most of the time you don't have these huge ad budgets, that some of these other brands that we were talking about earlier have. And so you do have to be really smart, really strategic, really dialed in to your audience, so you can clearly communicate your value proposition. And again, all these things that we've been kind of talking about. Okay, we have just a couple minutes left. So let me talk about some worse ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I felt like the Serena Williams one, the Remy Martin liquor spot.
That was weird.
It was.
I didn't expect that I just didn't associate her with that brand. I mean, sorry.
And I know, and the Inch by Inch is a speech actually from, I think, On Any Given Sunday, that movie. So it's like, I see the football tie-in, but her and that brand. And then honestly, all of that, like at the end, I was like, oh, this is what this is for? Like the payoff was weird.
Me too.
So
totally. I'm glad that wasn't just me.
Yeah.
And besides, I mean, I know Remy Martin, like, it's kind of like an old brand. I haven't like heard the name Remy Martin forever. I would not know if I was Remy Martin, if that's how I would be reviving that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, just right. And even when you put in like a big celebrity and they weren't spoofing, but they were using something from a movie that maybe a lot of people know.
Right.
If you can't tie it back to your brand or to your value proposition, then don't do it.
Right.
Because people are going to be like, what? And then another example of a poor execution I thought was E-Trade. That's the one with the babies.
I loved it.
Well, I thought it was, I mean, okay, they're cute, they're funny, but I kind of didn't get it. And here's an example of
I didn't get it though. You're right. I just like the babies.
You're right. And I've even gone back and watched it several times. I still don't quite get it. And so I think that the lesson there is sometimes a campaign has run its course. And, again, as scaling companies have to keep in mind, you may hit gold on a really great marketing strategy, but be aware that it's going to run its course. Okay, it's not your marketing person's fault. It's not working anymore, or your ad agencies.
Right.
It's just probably run its course. So that's the takeaway there. All right. So many other great ones we can talk about, but go check out, and I'll put the link to our blog post on the Novella website where you can read all about more. And thanks for being here. I'm going to go to the parade.
Have a great day,
All right.
guys.
See you guys
Have a
next
good day
week.
at the parade.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.